Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I'm back for another adventure with my Inktense blocks, the Derwent Inktense blocks, and some regular crochet cotton. I got a whole batch of it recently in a Facebook Marketplace haul, which I've shared a separate video on, and I've had some fun creating my own variegated threads, and I'm going to show you today how I did it. And I absolutely adore variegated threads, as I know some of my other stitchy friends do as well, but they can be quite expensive. I've got beautiful ones from a whole range of sources, but yeah, they do tend to be that little bit more pricey, and you can't always get one in exactly the colour combinations that you want. So when I got these Inktense blocks for Christmas, I wanted to use them for as many things as possible, particularly with fabrics and yarns, etc. And this is an idea that I've been really wanting to try, and it was the perfect opportunity when I got a whole bunch of these just regular white anchor pearl cotton number 8 threads. So they're used for crochet or for sewing, and so this is size number 8 size. But you could really do it with whatever. You could even do it with regular cotton. It's just going to be a little bit more probably tangly, and you'll just need to work out what you wind it onto for the dyeing process. So the cottons that I've used, or the pearl that I've used here, I've just twisted it into these little hanks myself, and I'll show you how I do it. It's probably not the way that the sort of the masters of people that make these do it, but it works for me, and it gets you quite a nice little attractive hank, which you could even gift to people. I'm thinking these would be a great gift for a stitchy friend. So yeah, these were some that I did last night, so they're fully dry. I'll probably insert a photo here that shows them when they were wet, and you can see that the colour lightens up a little bit from the wet to the dry state, but I quite like that it goes just a little bit softer, really. But you can think about that when you're doing them. Know that it is going to lighten a bit, so if you want a bit more intensity of colour, just apply a bit more of your Inktense to them. So I've only got the Inktense blocks, so I haven't tried this with the pencils, for example. But I suppose you could just sort of grind off a bit of your pencil and then mix it up as a paint and apply it just the way that the blocks work. And I think Inktense also comes in pans as well. But yeah, these are just the blocks, which is what I got because I thought they would be the most versatile for me. So before we start colouring these up, I'll just show you how I create the little hanks. So I've got a ball of wool, and I'll just let that fall to the ground. And so what I'm going to do is put it under my thumb, and then you probably can't see it that well, but I'm going to then wind it round using my elbow. So hopefully you can see there, we're winding under my thumb and then taking it down to my elbow. And I'm just going to keep doing that till I've got a nice, probably about maybe 15 rounds. So that's 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I found out of each of the balls, I got about 7 hanks of thread, but you can do them whatever size you want. So I leave both the ends sort of up one end of it, like that. And then once I've wound them, you can at this point just sort of wrap your thread a little bit, the little loose ends at the top. That's probably the only bit where I don't get it quite as neat as they would in a shop variety. I'm sure you could tie those together if you wanted, but I don't want to kind of have it knotting later. And then I start with my fingers at each end, twisting in the opposite direction so you get it nice and twisty. Then I loop them over and hold them taut, and then I let them go and let them twist to form a hank like that. So it works pretty well, I think. And then you can just neaten up these little loose ends at the end, and if you need to give it an extra little twist, so that will give us another one to play with. Now, when you're doing this, what I suggest you have is a container with some water in it to dip your hanks into, because I've found it works best to get them really thoroughly wet first so that the dye does go all the way through. You don't want to have anything that's sort of left white, so you want the dye to permeate. And then another one that you can use with your little paintbrush. Now this is a paintbrush that also has water in it, which is helpful for just getting the little blocks wet. Then either some paper towel, which I like to keep it afterwards and use it for other things. I've discovered this paper towel with these little perforations is great because you can even do a borrow sort of stitching into it. But today I'm going to use some scrap calico, something that I've used around and outside of a design, because then I'll be able to use this calico in other stitch projects as well, and I'll just use that for mopping up. It's also helpful if you do get your thread too wet to have maybe just a face washer or something that you can just sop it up before you're putting colour onto it. You wouldn't want to get Inktense onto your face washer, because Inktense, once it's activated with water and it dries, it is colour fast. So I'll move my threads that are already done out of the way so we don't have a disaster. And then we will start the process. Oh, there's a little hair in the water. So I'm going to just dip my thread into the water, get it thoroughly damp. I can give it a little squeeze if it's way too damp. You can just really play with it. If you're wanting softer colours, what I would suggest is that you do get it quite damp. And then we're going to start playing with colours. And so what I was doing with some of my other ones was just sort of working up a length of colours, so you're kind of getting graduating colours. Or you can mix them up, like where I had the pinks and the greens. And I think that's quite useful, because then if you're doing like a little thread painting of, say, a flower and a leaf, you can kind of intersperse. But I might even do a sort of a flowery one first, where I have different pinks. And I'll bring you down a little bit so you can see better. So just bringing you down now, so you can see the colour as it goes on. So as I say, it is going to lighten up in the process. So think about, what sort of intensity. I'll do a bit more of an intensity on this one, I think. I just like to get it to the point where you can't kind of see the paint being thick, or the Inktense being thick on the thread. I want it to kind of distribute around. And what I usually do is just turn it over and then put a little bit more on the back. So I'm just really picking up the paint with my my brush, or not the paint, the Inktense, and then daubing it straight on. I did yesterday do some practice sort of mixing it up in here first, but I found this works just as well if the thread's wet. And you can see it's already starting to sort of seep down as well. And so this is where I'll just put some of my leftovers on here, wipe my brush off on my calico, and even here underneath it as well, I can just pick up some of the colour with my calico, which will start to colour it up nicely. There we go, and then we can pick our next colour. So I've just cleaned my brush, and I might go for a nice purple. Sorry, you can't actually see the purple that I'm picking up, so I'll bring this over here like that. And it's a really nice fuchsia-y sort of purple. Well, no, more vibrant than a fuchsia. Okay, so we'll put that there. Again, I'm just going to pick up, I could have actually squirted some water out the end of my brush. That's what I should be doing. I don't need to pick up water from the cup. And so again, I just sort of check how it's looking on both sides, check that it's infiltrating into the actual thread itself. And then again, I can clean up my brush. And then what would I like next? I might go for a different pinky reddy colour. Yeah, that's more of a red, but it will definitely come out when it sort of mutes down. It will come out. So here I've set it directly on top of my calico just to give, then I don't need to kind of mop it up afterwards. Under here I've just got a plastic, it's just a plastic tidy bag, which I can even reuse afterwards, because yeah, the colour, any little residual colour that does sit on the outside will be colour fast. And you can do this as you could do a whole sort of length of it in a single colour, but I like to have the thread variegating quite a bit as I'm using it, so I quite like the fact that it's yeah, got a lot of variation in it. But this gives you kind of the ultimate control. And I haven't really had a problem. I know they say Inktense will really, because it's kind of it will meld into each other and you might end up with sort of murky colours, but I didn't find that with the ones that I did. I guess because I was working in similar colour schemes, but even where I put green and pink next to each other, it was still fine. So I'm going to squirt a bit more water out just to distribute that colour there a bit more. Just clean my brush off. And then I might put another purple in from over here. This would be lovely even for the little pansy projects that I've been working on recently. Probably move my my fabric a bit so I distribute the colour even more. So that's pretty good. Clean my brush off. What colour would I like next? I think maybe go back for a more intense pink. Almost a red, but again it'll soften down a bit in the drying process. It's funny, the Inktense blocks dry so quickly, you have to keep an eye on which one you use, because they don't sort of stay wet when you're just putting a tiny bit of moisture on them, which is good. Just add a bit more moisture and just let that come down. And then I reckon we'll probably only need one more colour. So what do I want? I might take a bluey purple, I think. Again, just play with, the intensity that you want. I think it's nice to have just a variety of threads in your collection anyway, and this is, a really affordable way because I got that bulk lot of crochet cottons for the grand price of $30, and I worked out it was sort of less than 30 cents a ball. And then a ball has made 7 of these what are they called? I called them something before and I can't even, hanks, not shanks. 7 of these hanks, and so 30 cents divided by 7 is not very much money at all. Sort of 4 cents a hank. So you're definitely going well. Obviously I've got the Inktense, but to start with, and they do cost a bit, but I've already got those in the collection, so it's just a way to get good use out of them. Now this is where you don't really want to use your fingers because they will do a bit of staining on it, but I tend to just do that. I should get some gloves out, so I'm just going to lay those up out of the way up there, but actually I should give you a proper look at this one. So I think it's just lovely. In fact, it's probably just a bit too strong coloured there. I'm just going to add a bit more water. Well, I don't think it will matter, but just seeing if I can distribute a bit more. Then let's just mop up that little colour section. Great use for calico, because you can get calico really affordably, or just other scrap fabric. You can really use anything you want. I'll just clean off my brush and I'll suck up a bit more water into my brush. And then we will dip our next hank into the water. Just give it a little squeeze. I'll lay it down. And And then what do we want to do this time? Maybe some greens, I think. So let me move my green palette down closer. Maybe without moving my entire bench. Might need to lift it. Over a bit closer. So I'm going to get a nice vibrant green. I love this green. And again, you could mix your colours as well. I'm just using them sort of straight from the pan. But you could definitely mix them up if you wanted to get your own custom colour, particularly if you're after a thread that you didn't have in your collection and you wanted to make your own. And I'll go for a much darker green, I think. It's almost a bluey grey green, this one. And again, you wouldn't have to do the colouring on both sides. If you wanted one part of your thread to be that little bit of extra light than the other side, then you could absolutely not do that. Then I'll go for one of these quite vibrant greens. Again, let's maybe pick up some even more colour. It's good not to waste any colour, isn't it? A bit of the green over here. Now, what colour do I want next? Maybe I'll go for quite a yellowy, greeny, sort of khaki colour it looks in the pan. I want to add a little bit more green into that, so I'll just do a bit of mixing on the thread itself. See how that works. Yeah, I prefer that. The other one was a little bit sort of yellowy brown rather than green, so just adding a bit more green into the mix, I think. Okay, and then next up we will do, so I'll just move across again because we probably won't be able to see the end of the thread otherwise. Maybe green up this end. Is that the one I used before? Now I'm wondering. And I think it's a different one to that. But maybe I'll even pick up a different green just to mix in. Picked up a darker, more khaki there. Okay, let's just still meld that colour a bit more through. And then what colour? Maybe this darker green. And then I feel like I'll need a pop of lightness maybe at the end. So I want something that's a bit brighter, I think. Again, it's hard to see which ones I've actually used from the palette. But this one has a nice bit of brightness, I think. So this is this little selection, and again, if I want to just help it start to dry and just transfer a bit of colour, I can there. So that can go up next to my other one. And again, I can mop my surface, dry it off a bit, and as you can see, I'm already getting lovely, lovely patterns. It would be great to use as a background for something. Okay, so we'll dip our next skein or hank. Maybe it is a skein. So what do I want to do next? Maybe we'll do some nice blues for skies and things. I'll just, on this one, I think just paint on the front and, yeah, see how the colour transference goes through to the back. If I add enough water, even up here, I feel I need to just get a bit more water to distribute it through. So I'll make sure I put enough on the front. I do have a few blue stitchery ideas that I want to do, so I haven't even really been cleaning the brush in between doing the colours. It's a nice blue. So just sort of squeezing a bit of water out of my little water brush pen as I go, just to really get the colours distributing. It's a darker blue. It's a good way to actually get to know the colours in your palette as well. I've got my little swatch fabric piece that I made. It's hung up next to me here. I'll just have to unhook it somehow. It's all caught up with a few things hung over here. Let's see if I can actually get it off. I'll show you. So I made myself a little sampler in the order that they are in the Inktense pans, and I just keep that by the desk as well, so I can look at colours. But this is a good way to get to know them on a larger scale. Maybe I will go for, I think this is going to be a bit more purpley, but anyway, let's see. Oh, it's very, very deep. But it will soften up in the drying process. And then I feel like I need maybe a lighter one. What's this one? Did I use this one already? No, I don't think so. Oh, maybe that one. No, it looks a bit different. So this time around I've just painted on the front. My brush off as well. Brush has almost run out of water. I'll see if I can suck some more water up into it. The good thing about these brushes is you can put them in the glass of water and they will pull a bit more water up into them. So yeah, that's how it looks on the front. And as you can see, it's a bit softer on the back, but the colours have still come through beautifully. And look at this lovely little colour swatch along the bottom. And while it's wet, you can still even distribute it around a little bit as well. Just thinking these could even make some sweet little bookmarks or something. So now let's lay out another side of the piece. One little scrap, multiple hanks. Okay, so we'll wet this down in our clean water again. So one glass for your clean water for dunking, and one for sort of dipping your paintbrush into, or more if you're worried about kind of getting transference of colour. Okay, what will we move to next? Maybe we should do some yellows and oranges. This This is almost a yellowy green, this one. So again, I'll just work on the front, I think, and not turn it over. So I don't mind a bit of variation of colour. Okay, then I'll move on to the next one in the pan. So not too much sort of variation between those, but I think that's nice as well, having just that more subtle colour shift. I'm just going to sort of dot along. And then this one. Definitely more into the orange tones there. So again, spushing out a bit of water as I go just to get it distributing nicely to the back. So here I am just following the order that they are in the pan. Get a bit more water to push out. Oh, that's almost it doesn't look that colour in the pan, but it's, yeah, got quite a bit of readiness in that orange. Just going to suck some more water up into my little pen. Then a very nice vibrant orange there. But again, I'll just distribute the colour with a bit of water, a bit of splushing. And there we go. That is how that looks on the back. Isn't it lovely? I think they look like candy. It's like a candy store. That's what I felt like when I got some of my recent cottage garden threads, which are dyed locally here in Gippsland. So let's do our next one. Just before I was starting this project, I was watching the lovely Annie Claxton, who was doing some really fun crochet projects and sharing some of her recent works. I thought I'd better do this before I pack away the Inktense for now. I've got so many project ideas on the go. Now, I haven't done a really dark scheme yet. I'm wondering, or maybe actually no, maybe I'll do a bit of candy caning where I'd kind of take two different colour families. And I am playing a fair bit with greens and pinks, so let's do a bit of that, I reckon. So some green to start. And then let's pick up a lovely pink. And maybe I'll just keep doing those two. Let's vary it up a bit. I'd get bored if it was all exactly the same. So here's where you've got the two colours next to each other, but I don't think it's kind of making it a yucky colour where they merge. But I will make sure I clean my brush properly. Be nice to even make Christmassy ones with reds and greens. And you could definitely leave some of the whites white as well if you just wanted to have like a red and white stripe, like a real candy cane. Which colour next? Maybe this one. And then a pink. Don't know if I've used this dusty pink on this one yet. Well, it's not really dusty actually. I will probably, when it dries, it'll have that dusty pink look. Just going to get some water in my little pen. And then a final green. Choices, choices. So there we go, and again just that slightly softer on the other side, so you get a bit of variation. So that's sweet, and we've got some more lovely coloration. I almost feel like I'm running out of bits to use. I could probably just use the bit down here, that will work okay I think. So another skein. And maybe we'll go for some greys, some darker colours. I'm just trying to think if I do use them in outlining and sort of adding shadowed pieces, so maybe that would be good. Pop it down here perhaps. Okay, so we'll start. Got to have a bit of shadow in our lives, don't we? Can't all be bright and light. I'll get a bit more water in my pen if I can. There we go. Just moving along the greys in my Inktense. Even though they look quite similar in the pan, they do definitely come out different colours. I don't know if I picked up the same one again. As it's just that problem that they dry so fast. I really need to keep an eye on where I've been, or work a bit faster. It's almost got a little bit of purpley colour in it in that one. And again with this one as well. This one should be more of a brownie. Yep, we're going into the reds up here. I quite like that actually. I should bring it down a bit so you can see. So that's our, and that's the other side. So almost like lovely bluey greys on the other side. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Something a bit different. Okay, and then what next? What next? I probably should have brought myself a bit more calico over, but that's okay. We're just going to make do. So I'll dip my next skein or hank into the water, get it thoroughly dampified. A little dampified, I don't think that's really a word, is it? Travis the dog and I went out for a beautiful walk this morning. It's Saturday here when I'm filming this. Not sure when I'll be showing it, but at the local park where we look over Melbourne and all these lovely, yeah, sort of wild grass beds either side of the path, which is beautiful. What would I like to do next? I'm thinking maybe purples, blues into purples. Let's do that. That's the sound of me getting water in my pen, or my paint pen. These are definitely a bit more on the blue side. Even that's a bit blue as well. So I'll keep working down till I get, oh, that now we're starting to get more purpley. It's quite a dark purple, I think, yeah. And you definitely wouldn't need this many colours. I'm just having fun playing with the different colours. So, and you could try it with watercolours, but I guess they're not going to be colour fast in the way that these are when they dry. As long as they've been activated with water, these will dry and be colour fast. Not that I'm going to be washing these anyway, because my stitcheries don't. I'm not making clothes or anything, so my stitcheries don't really get washed. Perfect. I got down to the end of the purple row, so there you go. That is the back and the front. Oops. And we have one more skein or hank to go. Wish you could be telling me what colour you want me to do the next one in. Having a look at what I've done so far, thinking what will I want to use, and I think they're all, I mean, they all end up so lovely. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do a full-on rainbow, just take random colours. Not even, I guess rainbows aren't random, but I'm just going to do a variety of different colours, I think. Get some more water in my pen. Let's go over and pick up a green. And then a blue, even though they say blue and green shouldn't be seen except on an Irish queen. I think that's the saying. And then maybe a nice yellow. I think I still had a bit of the blue left still on my pen, so it's a slightly green, slightly greenier yellow, but that's okay. Then let's grab one of those beautiful purples. Purple and yellow go nice together, for sure. And maybe a reddy colour. And then let's go over to one of our brownies. Something a bit different. Probably been neglecting that part of the pan, the darker greys and browns. Yeah, I do love this blue. Oh, yum yum. That's a lovely blue. Just get a bit more water darker in there so those colours just distribute a bit more. You can kind of see they're distributing because you can see them going onto the calico underneath as well. And then what's our final colour going to be? What haven't I used? I've got blues, purples. Maybe we need another greeny blue at the, oh no, because we've just used a blue actually, so I'm going to wash that off. I don't think that would, I'm not sure. Maybe a grey. Let's go grey at the end. Bit of drama at the end of blacky grey. There we go. So that's the front and that's the back. Lay that one down there. I'll move those. I'll give you a, pop that into the water bowl. So I will put this out on the line to dry. I'll carry it carefully downstairs, wrapped in the plastic, dry the plastic off as well. And that I can turn into a fun little project. I've got to make a card for my dad for his birthday as well as one for my niece. So I might even do something with this for that once it's dried. And then let me show you the what we have actually dyed. So I will just roll that over and get the skeins or the hanks into view. Just popping that like that, and hopefully now you can see them, sliding it down on my desk. Easier than moving the camera. And let's just have a look. So that's a lovely little selection. So much yeah, diversity in the colours, different ways to do it, graduating colours or random selections like that last one with all the colours of the rainbow. And it will be really great to yeah, to see how these are dry. I'll come back and I'll actually show you them once they're dried. I'll take them down and get them drying on the line. So here are the hanks of thread, crochet thread or perle thread that we dyed together, painted with the Inktense, and here is how they look when they are dry. So we've got this beautiful oranges into yellows. For some of these we just painted the surface and then let the colours soak through, and it's just really, really lovely, even where you get a bit of, probably a bit of this touched or another end touched onto it and you've got a little bit of colour transference. It is just very special. I'm going to show you in a moment. I've even started using some of the thread that I was working with as well. So just really, really lovely. I'm going to be using some of these greys actually for the same project, which I'll show you in a moment. I think they're going to be fantastic. Greens and sort of bluey colours. Sort of got a bit of a watery feel to me. And then our rainbow one, all sorts of colours. So that will be a lot of fun to stitch with, like do lettering or something with it would be really lovely. And then this gorgeous blues and purples. So yeah, just love them. These are the other ones. And then I've already started using this beautiful pink one. So they sort of unwind beautifully. And as you can see, it's just got such gorgeous, gorgeous colouring in it. It is absolutely, absolutely delightful. And I have already started stitching this beautiful little elephant for my niece Emily Rose because it's her birthday very soon. So I'm thinking I'll make a little, like a door hanging or a hanging that can go in her room with her name stitched on it using this newly created variegated thread. And it's just perfect because it picks up quite a few of the different sort of colours in there. It's a perfect variegated thread for, yeah, writing out Emily Rose and these little beautiful roses with the elephant. I think it's just absolutely, absolutely perfect. But I've just used a split stitch to do the lettering, which gives you a lovely sort of, yeah, raised effect and makes it look quite neat. And so yeah, I'll probably be putting it in just a little circular mounting. So yeah, very, very pleased. And once you have, it's very easy just to take the thread that you need out of it. And then once you finish, You can use that same technique that we had where you sort of go in different directions to wind the thread, and then you let it put your two ends together and then let it wrap itself together like that. If you've got the little endy pieces, they will stick out a little bit. I'll have to look at how the masters deal with the ends, but yeah, a great little way to store. I'll probably end up putting these just in one of my little jars or bottles and have it just visually close by on the work desk, because I just think they look so pretty, and yeah, if I make things I want to start using them as well, and I'll feel very free using these, knowing that these are about 7 cents a hank or a skein. Yeah, affordable, fun, but most importantly beautifully hand created, hand dyed or hand painted threads. So yeah, they'll be delicious just to have sitting on my desk. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon, hopefully with lots more fun ideas for you to try. Thanks everyone.